Chapter 22 Apology and VIP Card. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As soon as the bell of the coming-of-age ceremony rang, Xiao Ze, Xiao Xun'er, and Yafei made a dazzling appearance. It seemed that they were the protagonists of the coming-of-age ceremony, attracting the attention of most people present. With a smile on his face, Xiao Ze quickly pulled Xiao Xun'er and rushed to the area for the underage children of the Xiao family. Yafei also remained calm and returned to the VIP seat. She had seen such a scene that attracted everyone's attention over the years. Xiao Zhan, who was standing on the stage, coughed and drew everyone's attention back. Thank you all for coming to participate in the coming-of-age ceremony of the Xiao family. When Xiao Ze heard Xiao Zhan begin to speak incessantly, the smile on his face froze slightly. It seems that no matter where you are, long speeches are always indispensable. On the high platform are the core members of the Xiao family, including the clan leaders and elders. As a member of the main lineage, he was also qualified to stand on the high platform. However, Xiao Ze wanted to accompany Xiao Xun'er, so he came to the area where the underage children of the Xiao family were. Today's protagonists, the children of the Xiao family who came of age this year, stayed in another area, ready to take the test. Xiao Ze looked around and saw someone waving at him in the corner. Xiao Ze pulled Xiao Xun'er over and saw Xiao Yan looking at him with a smile on his face. Fourth brother, you really saved my life. Ah. Xiao Ze was a little confused and asked in confusion, Third brother, there is no one around here who threatens your life. Why do you say that? You don't know that before you came, almost everyone was looking at me. Especially those guys in the VIP seats. Their eyes are like substance, trying to see through my body. Xiao Yan said with lingering fear. Fortunately, fourth brother, you came and attracted the attention of those guys at once. Haha, third brother, not that. Even if I didn't come, the adult ceremony officially started, they wouldn't look at you frequently. Xiao Ze smiled and comforted, and Xiao Xun'er stayed quietly aside. In front of Xiao Ze, she can show the liveliness of a girl next door and a childhood sweetheart, but in front of outsiders, Xiao Xun'er usually behaves rather cold and unapproachable. Even if others want to approach her, they will be defeated by Xiao Xun'er's seemingly polite smile, but in fact, her coldness that keeps people away. Xiao Ze and Xiao Yan chatted while watching the coming-of-age ceremony. This year's coming-of-age ceremony was mediocre, with no unexpected dark horses or geniuses with outstanding talents. During the test, everything seemed mediocre. Some people passed the Dou Po test and were ecstatic to continue practicing in the Xiao family. Some people were one step behind and walked off the stage in a daze, ready to accept the arrangement of the Xiao family and become an external manager. As the grandson of the great elder, Xiao Ning had decent talent and barely passed the test. Before being beaten into a pig head by Xiao Ze, he stayed in the house all day and didn't go out to cause trouble. He seemed to have grown a lot. Fourth brother, did the elder come to apologize? Ah. Where did this come from? Did the elder offend me? Xiao Ze couldn't help asking when he heard Xiao Yan suddenly bring up this topic. Xiao Ning came to me to apologize before, and we made peace. Xiao Yan thought about it and told the truth, explaining the whole story clearly. But he asked me to say a few good words in front of you, but I refused. I asked him to apologize to you himself. Then I don't know. I have been staying in the back mountain during this period and haven't even returned home a few times. Ah, this. It seems that Xiao Ning can't find your trace. I'm afraid he will come to find you after the coming-of-age ceremony. Xiao Yan just finished speaking when he saw an old figure approaching them. Xiao Ze, do you have time? I want to talk to you. Elder, Xiao Yan couldn't help saying when he saw the figure suddenly appear. I am not the so-called great elder now. Okay. Let's find a secluded place. Xiao Ze was fearless. He could fight with the great elder and was not afraid of him making a move. When he came to a secluded place, he found that someone was already waiting there. Xiao Ze's expression was a little subtle. It was Xiao Ning. Xiao Ze, my grandson had a conflict with you before. I also attacked you in anger. Please forgive me, that the great elder said sincerely, with an apologetic look on his face. Xiao Ning did the same and bowed to Xiao Ze repeatedly. Great elder, what are you talking about? Although you have been temporarily dismissed from the position of elder, your contribution to the Xiao family cannot be erased. Xiao Ze had expected it before he came, but he didn't expect the great elder to be so straightforward. He would not hesitate to say some good words when the sedan chair was carried by everyone. We are all from the same clan. Can't we talk about the biggest conflicts? The conflict between Xiao Ning and I was caused by the humiliation of my third brother. Now that my third brother has no objection, I will naturally not continue to hold on to this matter. Okay, Xiao Ze, you are really broad-minded. You are really the unicorn who will lead the Xiao family to glory in the future, that the elder said ecstatically, and all kinds of rainbow words came out one after another. Xiao Ze blushed a little after hearing this. The great elder usually looked serious, but he didn't expect that he had such a good skill in speaking rainbow words. Okay, great elder, since this matter has been brought up, I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. Xiao Ze couldn't stand to compete with this old fox in speaking rainbow words. He couldn't compete at all. He could always speak rainbow words to Xiao Ze from all kinds of tricky angles. If it weren't for the great elder, he wouldn't know that he had so many advantages. After watching Xiao Ze leave, the great elder breathed a sigh of relief, and Xiao Ning also looked at the great elder with admiration. Grandpa, why didn't I know before that you are so good at praising people? Why haven't you ever praised me? Hearing his grandson's question, the great elder's face flashed with anger, and he patted Xiao Ning on the head. If you have 1/10 of Xiao Ze's efforts and achievements, I will praise you as much as you want me to. The problem is that you can't do it. I gave you a chance, but you are useless. Oh, Grandpa, stop beating me. Stop beating me. You are not a genius to begin with. If you beat me again, I will become a mediocre person. Xiao Ning ran away with his head in his hands and said hurriedly. Only after hearing this did the elder stop. He really couldn't bear to beat his grandson into a mediocre person. Xiao Ning, you must work hard to become a talent. The farce of the grandfather and grandson in this secret corner came to an end. When Xiao Ze came back, he found that the ceremony had entered the next stage. The newly adult clansmen accepted the challenge of others. Where is my third brother? Xiao Ze returned to the original corner and found that only Xiao Xun'er was waiting there. Cousin Xiao Yan may not be able to stand the eyes of others, so he left first. Xiao Ze looked around and no one paid attention to this corner. Xun'er, did you not say a word after I left? Yes, I'm not familiar with cousin Xiao Yan, so we don't have any topics to talk about. Xun'er said as a matter of course. Well, I know why my third brother left. When Xiao Ze was around, he could still chat with Xiao Yan, and the atmosphere was not so cold and awkward. When Xiao Yan and Xiao Xun'er were alone, Xiao Xun'er's temperament was extremely cold, and she directly ignored Xiao Yan. Xiao Xun'er was smiling. Of course she knew why Xiao Yan left, and this was the result she wanted. Before, brother Xiao Ze just chatted with cousin Xiao Yan, and there was no room for me to interrupt. Thinking of this, Xiao Xun'er moved closer to Xiao Ze and held Xiao Ze's hand. Does brother Xiao Ze have any plans today? I plan to find Xiao Yu after the coming-of-age ceremony and ask about the specific enrollment date of Canaan College. Then after that, should we go out for a meal? Xiao Xun'er said. That's fine, but I'll treat you this time. No problem. Xun'er is going to make brother Xiao Ze poor. The two chatted while watching the fight between the Xiao family members on the field. To be honest, it was boring not only for Xiao Ze, but also for Xiao Xun'er. The two of them often exchanged fighting skills, and their fighting skills were quite superb. In their eyes, the fighting between the Xiao family members was nothing more than a fight between chickens in terms of skills. Xiao Ze also took this opportunity to test Xiao Xun'er and let Xiao Xun'er point out the loopholes in their fighting process. Xiao Xun'er quickly analyzed their technical loopholes and timing based on her own understanding of the battle. Fortunately, they stayed in the corner, otherwise people would be stunned and shocked if they heard it, because these two teenagers' understanding of fighting may be higher than some experienced old mercenaries. Ah! It's finally over. If brother Xiao Ze hadn't asked me to analyze the battle in the middle, I would have been so bored that I would have walked away. The coming-of-age ceremony was officially over after Xiao Zhan's announcement. Xiao Xun'er spoke up and stretched her body at the same time. At this time, a graceful figure came over. Yafei saw Xiao Ze and smiled brightly. There was no one around in this corner, so Yafei spoke boldly. Xiao Ze. Master, thank you for saving me earlier. This is the VIP card of the Mitel family. You can get a discount when you buy items at the Mitel auction house. Yafei took out a crystal card from her lining, and the crystal card was engraved with the exquisite Mitel family emblem. Xiao Ze took the card, and there was still a faint warmth on the card. If necessary, I will go to middle auction house. Then Yafei will wait. Master Xiao's arrival. I will leave first and will not disturb you two anymore. Yafei said with a smile, waving goodbye to the two. Xiao Ze watched Yafei leave and prepared to take Xiao Xun'er to find Xiao Yu. Let's go find cousin Xiao Yu. No hurry. Brother Xiao Ze, give me the card first. Xiao Xun'er suddenly said. Xiao Ze didn't think much, and directly put the card on Xiao Xun'er's white palm. TSK, Miss Yafei really understands men, this card is still warm. Xiao Xun'er looked at Xiao Ze with a smile, and Xiao Ze shrugged. Why are you looking at me? I don't care, and a card with body temperature can still make me think about it. Xiao Ze rolled his eyes and said to Xiao Xun'er, let's go. After asking the date, I still have things to do. What to do? I'm going on a long trip. Please read this for free. I recommend you to read the whole book. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page. Thank you so much. Chapter 23 Long-Legged Xiao Yu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brother Xiao Ze, are you going on a long journey? This sudden news caused Xiao Xun'er to exclaim. Where is Brother Xiao Ze going? Why do you suddenly have this idea? I don't know either. Since I was promoted to a fighting master, I have always had this idea and can't get rid of it. Xiao Ze explained vaguely, and seeing Xiao Xun'er's puzzled face, he reached out and touched her head. Don't worry, with my current strength, as long as I am careful and don't take the initiative to get involved in some things, ordinary people can't hurt me at all. But this is too sudden. Xiao Xun'er said hurriedly, and the enrollment date of Canaan College is also very close, planning to go on a long journey at this time. That's why I plan to go to cousin Xiao Yu to ask about the specific date, otherwise this idea will always linger, and I won't be too focused on cultivation. Xiao Ze's reason made Xiao Xun'er silent. It was related to his own cultivation, and Xiao Ze would not joke about this. Well, brother Xiao Ze, do you need me to go with you? No, I just want to achieve my idea, and I don't know where I will go. Xiao Ze shook his head. Of course, he knew where he was going, Qingshan town. It would be inconvenient to take Xun'er with him. Besides, the conditions are not as good as those in the Xiao family, so Xun'er, you should stay in the Xiao family, and your safety is guaranteed. Seeing that Xiao Xun'er was about to speak, Xiao Ze said hurriedly. I will calm my thoughts this time, and my strength may increase greatly when I come back. If you follow me, you may be left behind by me. Xiao Xun'er nodded silently, followed Xiao Ze without saying a word, but held Xiao Ze's hand tightly with her right hand. Xiao Ze sighed in his heart. Xiao Yixian was the person he chose for the subsidiary binding. This time, he really had to go to Qingshan town. After obtaining the subsidiary binding, Xiao Ze also carefully screened the Xiao family. To put it in a more popular way, at present, only Xiao Xun'er is a golden legend in the Xiao family. In the future, Xiao Yan will get the help of Yao Lao, his talent will be restored, and after learning the art of alchemy, he may become a golden legend, but now he is just a white ordinary, or, the Xiao family is basically white ordinary. With the feedback from Xiao Xun'er, he can barely be considered a golden legend. Looking at the powerful talents that can be obtained in the early stage, Xiao Yixian's evil poison body is definitely the best, and it is extremely easy to obtain. In a small town in the east of the Warcraft Mountains, as for Queen Medusa's seven-colored swallowing sky python bloodline. Now she has not used the strange fire to quench and evolve the bloodline, and from the description of the original work, what Queen Medusa will eventually evolve into is also very random, not to mention the danger that Queen Medusa herself carries. He is just a small fighting master now. If he dares to go deep into the desert, Queen Medusa can crush him to death with just one finger. Qinglin is also a good choice, but the distance is too far, and he may not be able to catch up with the enrollment date of Canaan College. Overall, among those who possess the golden legendary talent in the Jiao Ma Empire, the little medical immortal has the lowest difficulty in obtaining it. The two were planning to go to the residence of the Great Elder, and they met Xiao Yu at the intersection. She was talking and laughing with Xiao Mei at this time, and it seemed that they were heading to the back mountain. "Cousin Xiao Yu, please wait a moment." Xiao Ze called Xiao Yu, and the two people in front also stopped. Seeing that it was Xiao Ze and Xiao Xun'er, Xiao Yu and Xiao Mei were a little surprised. These two are the pride of the family, why did they suddenly come to them? Xiao Yu stopped and looked at Xiao Ze, who was approaching. She had seen Xiao Ze at the venue before, which really shocked her. The low-key child in the past has now grown into a graceful and handsome boy. Xiao Yu met Xiao Ze several times when she was a child. When she was about to go to the back mountain to take a hot spring bath, she met Xiao Ze. He also reminded himself to be careful not to be peeped by others. Thanks to Xiao Ze's reminder, Xiao Yu was alert, and even when taking a hot spring bath, she did not take off all her clothes, and she paid attention to her surroundings, and she really caught a peeping boy. The only embarrassing thing was that the peeping guy turned out to be Xiao Ze's brother, who reminded her to be careful, Xiao Yan. At that time, Xiao Yu thought it was very interesting. Xiao Ze's kindness actually pitted Xiao Yan. Xiao Yu was also impressed by Xiao Ze. Even though she rarely heard about Xiao Ze later, she still had an impression of him. "Xiao Ze, what's the matter?" But when Xiao Ze came to Xiao Yu, he was immediately attracted by Xiao Yu's long legs. Sure enough, the most eye-catching thing about Xiao Yu was her pair of slender and round long legs. In addition, the Canaan College uniform with a white base and blue edges, a large part of the thigh was exposed under the skirt, and she was wearing long boots. This section of long legs was highlighted at once. "Cousin Xiao Yu, Xun'er and I plan to participate in the enrollment of Canaan College. I want to ask when Canaan College will come to Wutan City." Xiao Ze looked at the sexy and charming long legs, then shifted his gaze and stared at Xiao Yu's eyes and said, "Long legs are good, but don't get addicted to them." Xiao Yu heaved a sigh of relief when she heard this. Although she had learned from her grandfather that Xiao Ze and Xiao Ning had reconciled, she was still a little worried that Xiao Ze would come to cause trouble for her. Sure enough, just like what Grandpa said, Xiao Ze has a broad mind. Xiao Yu showed a look of reminiscence, and his fingertips gently touched the attractive lips. "The enrollment date of Canaan College is about a month later. If cousin Xiao Ze and cousin Xun'er want to participate in the enrollment, I can take you there, which can save a lot of trouble, and the person in charge of enrollment happens to be my mentor." Xiao Yu said, as if she was worried that Xiao Ze would not trust her. She also patted her chest and added the last sentence, bringing up her mentor. A month later. Xiao Ze thought about it, and there was plenty of time. In the original book, Xiao Yan left Wutan City and went to the eastern part of the Warcraft Mountains. It took 5 days to rest somewhere, then he carried the Xuanzhong ruler on his back and walked for another 2 days to reach Qingshan town. If he went straight to Qingshan town, he might not need to spend 5 days. In that case, I really have to thank cousin Xiao Yu. I had a grudge with cousin Xiaoning before, but cousin Xiao Yu still treated me like this. Cousin Xiao Yu is really broad-minded. Xiao Yu offered to help him, and Xiao Ze did not hesitate to say a few good words. Of course, these words were learned from the elder. Xiao Ze only now realized that the elder's rainbow words were also somewhat useful. Sure enough, life is full of knowledge, there is no end to learning, no end to learning. Hearing Xiao Ze's sincere praise, Xiao Yu's smile became much more intense. After all, which woman doesn't want to hear that she is broad-minded? The relationship between the few people was originally a little cold. Xiao Ze's words were like a lubricant, which brought the relationship between the few people closer. Xiao Yu also took the initiative to come over and told the two of them a lot about enrollment. Xiao Mei stood aside and listened carefully. She also planned to develop in Canaan College in the future, so it would not hurt to listen more. Soon, several people made an appointment to go to the back mountain together, ready to take a hot spring bath, a coming-of-age ceremony, which made them sticky. Of course, Xiao Ze was guarding outside. Please read the book, readers. Now I recommend you to read the book in full. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page of the book. Thank you. Chapter 25 Blue Feather Demonic Eagle, The Monsters Are Getting Restless. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yafei. Sister, how much discount can I get for this exquisite face with a VIP card? Xiao Ze touched the face on his face and felt very satisfied. Xiao Ze, brother, since you call me sister, I will protect you. Yafei leaned against Xiao Ze's body, and could feel the boy's strong physique, and smiled. I can still afford the money for this face, I'll give it to you for free. No. Sister Yafei, I called you sister, so I can't take advantage of you. It seems that I call you sister for money. Xiao Ze decisively refused. It's not that he didn't have money, so there was no need to take others' money for free. Besides, Xiao Ze recognized Yafei as his sister, not because he wanted to lie on Yafei and suck her blood. Yafei looked at Xiao Ze's slightly stubborn eyes and was silent for a while. She felt helpless in her heart. The brother she just recognized seemed too stubborn. Then, the VIP card can be discounted by 20%, but now I will give you a 50% discount. 5,000 gold coins. In this way, you won't be taking my sister's things for nothing, and I will satisfy my desire to give my brother some benefits. Xiao Ze thought about it, nodded, and handed over a deposit card. Thank you, Sister Yafei. Yafei took the card with a smile and handed it to her subordinate to pay. Xiao Ze chatted with Yafei for a while. There is no way, I am too soft on her. Calling sister, I can get a discount of 3,000 gold coins, which is equivalent to 2 Warcraft feasts. These few calls of sister are really valuable. Not long after, the subordinate came back with the deposit card, and Xiao Ze stood up to say goodbye. Sister Yafei, please keep my long journey a secret for me. Don't worry, trust your sister's words. Yafei nodded seriously, looked Xiao Ze up and down, and smiled and opened her white arms. Before leaving, won't you give your sister a goodbye hug? Xiao Ze was speechless, not knowing what to say. Yafei walked up to Xiao Ze and gave him a big hug. Unfortunately, Xiao Ze's face felt Yafei's broad mind instead of him. East of the Monster Mountain Range, Xiao Ze quickly shuttled through the woods, and behind him came the clear cry that pierced the clouds and cracked the rocks. The blue-feathered demon eagle was chasing him behind. After leaving Wutan City, Xiao Ze knew clearly that there were many right and wrong in places with many people. He tried to choose sparsely populated places to travel. Anyway, he had a simple map with him. It roughly marked several locations in the eastern part of the Monster Mountain Range. If he searched all the way, he would definitely find Qingshan Town. Even in a world with extraordinary military power, privately drawing a detailed topographic map is a serious crime punishable by death. He was able to get this simple map with the help of his newly recognized sister, Sister Yafei. Of course, if you choose to stay away from the gossip in front of people, you have to face the difficulties in the wild. The road is rugged and difficult to move forward, which is nothing for a fighter. The most important difficulty is the various wild beasts and even magic beasts hidden in the wild. Xiao Ze walked along the Magic Beast Mountain Range and accidentally provoked a second-level flying magic beast, the blue-feathered demon eagle. Swish! A light blue Dou Po attack fell from the sky, and all the branches along the way were cut off. Xiao Ze suddenly exerted force under his feet, and his speed suddenly increased. The position where he was originally located was destroyed by the wind attribute Dou Po. TSK. This mixed-haired beast really thought I couldn't kill it. Xiao Ze glanced at the blue-feathered demon eagle flying in the air, and silently ran deeper into the forest. Sure enough, the blue-feathered demon eagle circled for a while, and then flapped its wings and flew towards him. Xiao Ze deliberately slowed down, pretending to be out of energy and exhausted. The blue-feathered demon eagle did not doubt it much. It had been hunting prey of this level before, and it would have been exhausted long ago. It was a little surprised that this prey could last so long. It slowly lowered its body and sent out another light blue battle chi attack. Xiao Ze pretended to dodge it narrowly. He rolled on the ground in a mess. The blue-feathered demon eagle suddenly swooped down, and a pair of claws that could pierce gold and crack rocks grabbed Xiao Ze's head. If an ordinary person was caught by these claws, his head would be torn like a watermelon. Xiao Ze felt the strong wind pressure on his body. But he was not in a hurry, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised. When the distance was enough, Xiao Ze suddenly turned over and condensed a water mirror in his right hand, force-relieving water mirror. The oval water mirror blocked the sharp claws and was easily penetrated. However, the light blue battle chi covering the claws was also completely worn out. The force-dissipating water mirror is a defensive fighting skill used by Master Wolin in the original novel, and it is only of the advanced yellow rank. However, it is a fighting skill that every water attribute practitioner has, and it is a very useful defensive fighting skill. Xiao Ze looked at the sharp claws that were so close, and his heartbeat slightly accelerated. However, the movement of his hands did not stop at all. Blue Sea Whirlpool. A large amount of fighting spirit in Xiao Ze's body was consumed, and the pierced water mirror on his right hand exploded, covering a radius of several feet, forming a huge land whirlpool. At the same time, Xiao Ze's body was repelled by the water flow and was thrown out directly. The blue feather demon eagle that stayed in place was not so lucky. The vortex rotated at high speed, interrupting its takeoff action. At the same time, there were also water blades hidden in these high-speed rotating vortices. As time went by, the wounds on the blue feather demon eagle became more and more, and the azure sea whirlpool was also stained with a layer of light red. The demon eagle opened its mouth, but was ruthlessly poured by the sea water. His eyes were full of horror as he looked at the prey several feet away. Didn't he run out of Dou Qi and his physical strength was exhausted? Xiao Ze stood up slowly. Exhausted Dou Qi. Just kidding, the Dou Qi he consumed while running all the way was not as much as he recovered. After being promoted to Dou Master, Xiao Ze's Dou Qi cyclone in his body was also strengthened, and his ability to recover Dou Qi was also improved. Under normal circumstances, his Dou Qi consumption may not be as fast as his recovery. The Azure Sea Whirlpool is a low-level Xian-level Dou skill, and its power is not that strong, but who made Xiao Ze's Dou Qi quality very high and his mastery level extremely high. Not long after, the blue feather demon eagle died tragically in the Azure Sea Whirlpool. The body was chopped into pieces of meat, mixed with a lot of feathers in the water. My current strength should be more than enough to face the second-level monster. I can kill it directly with one round of explosion. But the third-level monster is not necessarily the case. The challenge of crossing the level is always the most difficult. Xiao Ze took out a light blue magic core from the water, harvesting a second-level magic core. Hunting monsters may not necessarily harvest magic cores, it depends on the probability. Xiao Ze harvested a magic core for the first time, which is not bad. I'm lucky. This magic core is worth thousands of gold coins. Xiao Ze took out the map, climbed up the treetops, and observed the surrounding terrain. He was surprised to find that he was close to Qingshan town. Rumble. Xiao Ze felt the ground shaking. Looking into the distance, he found a group of monsters running here. Attracted by the fighting here? No. It seems to be fleeing. Seeing this group of fleeing monsters, Xiao Ze decided to play it safe and wait and see. Although it is only a first-level monster, it is still unclear what caused them to flee. Could it be a high-level monster? If so, I will also join the ranks of escape. Please read the book. I recommend you to read the book in full. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page of the book. Thank you. Chapter 26 100-fold feedback. Perfect evil poison body. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Ze concealed his presence and hid in the leaves. The fleeing monsters did not notice his presence. This was only the periphery of the monster mountain range. They were all the lowest level first-level monsters, or even wild beasts. Even if they swarmed up, they would not pose a threat to Xiao Ze. What really worried him was the reason that prompted these monsters to flee. Monsters are cunning and treacherous, and have a strong sense of danger. What on earth could make them so scared? Could it be that the high-level monsters inside the monster mountain range came out to look for food? Generally speaking, high-level monsters rarely come out to look for food, because those monsters on the periphery are just a food for them at that level, and there is no benefit. After waiting for a while, those monsters ran away, and Xiao Ze did not notice any danger coming. Are these monsters crazy? Xiao Ze hid in the tree for another quarter of an hour, realizing that this was not a solution. Or we can bypass this area. Xiao Ze quickly went down to the ground and gestured at the map. He found that the location of Qingshan town was just avoiding the direction of the monsters. Don't be too curious on the Duki continent. Adventures belong to others. I'd better stick to my feedback system and become stronger. Xiao Ze put away the map and rushed towards Qingshan town. Sure enough, there were no traces of a large number of monsters along the way. Xiao Ze breathed a sigh of relief, but still looked around carefully. This is still the periphery of the monster mountain range, and there is no guarantee that there will be no monsters. Speaking of which, he was unlucky to encounter a second-level monster. The most common activities on the periphery of the monster mountain range are actually wild beasts and first-level monsters. Second-level monsters are still relatively rare. Maybe that monster is a flying monster with a wider hunting range, so it was a bit unlucky to be encountered by Xiao Ze. Suddenly, Xiao Ze saw a black palm print on the tree trunk in front of him. His attention was immediately raised, and his soul perception frantically searched the surrounding situation. He did not sense any monsters or humans. Xiao Ze came to the black palm print and could vaguely see that it was a human palm, but he could not distinguish between men and women. He found that this mark did not seem to be caused by the burning of fire attribute fighting spirit, but was corroded by something. Xiao Ze picked up a handful of weeds from his feet and carefully placed them on the black palm print. In the blink of an eye, the weeds climbed up the black. Seeing this, Xiao Ze quickly shook off the weeds on his hand. At the same time, he shot away the light blue fighting spirit covering his hand, covered it with a layer of fighting spirit again, and then carefully observed his palm. After confirming that nothing was wrong, Xiao Ze breathed a sigh of relief. After the verification just now, he had confirmed that this black palm was corroded by a fierce poison. It's hard not to let my imagination run wild when I encounter such a poisonous thing near Qingshan town. Xiao Ze observed and found that the palm print extended all the way to the depths of the forest. At the same time, he took out the map and compared it with his position just now. Sure enough, the end of the direction where the palm print extended was the place where the monsters had been avoiding just now. Could it be that the evil poison body of Xiao Yixian has broken out? Xiao Ze hesitated for a moment, but decided to take a look, because he did not find any residue of Dou Qi on the black palm print. In other words, the existence of this highly toxic palm print is likely to be just an ordinary person, not a cultivator. If it is not Xiao Yixian, Xiao Ze also has room to escape. As for asking him to fight with such a poisonous existence, Xiao Ze thinks it is better to avoid it. Following the traces of the highly toxic palm, Xiao Ze moved forward all the way. Some wild grasses were also contaminated in the middle of the way and had turned into a pile of dead grass. Xiao Ze carefully avoided these dead grasses, and covered his body with an airtight douqi gauze to prevent the ashes of these dead grasses from falling on him. After walking for a while, he arrived at a small valley. A new system prompt appeared in front of Xiao Ze. Xiao Yixian can bind the evil poison body. Medical skills, beast taming skills. Seeing the system prompt, Xiao Ze knew that this time it was stable. The existence in the valley is Xiao Yixian, who has an attack of the evil poison body. Among the several binding options, only the evil poison body is light gold, and the others are white. Xiao Ze does not know the system's classification criteria for abilities. However, it should be evaluated based on talent, rarity, growth limit, etc. Currently, Xiao Ze has seen the highest level of evaluation. It is the ancient clan's divine duty bloodline on Xiao Xun'er, which is as rich in color as dark gold. The evil poison body on Xiao Yixian is the second golden evaluation he has seen. Xiao Ze did not hesitate and directly chose to bind the evil poison body. The host successfully binds Xiao Yixian's evil poison body. Seeing the system prompt, Xiao Ze also breathed a sigh of relief. Although the evil poison body has many disadvantages, the benefits are even more obvious. In the original work, Xiao Yixian can still surpass Xiao Yan's progress after meeting again many years later. It is conceivable how powerful the evil poison body is. At that time, Xiao Yan swallowed two kinds of strange fire. Her cultivation was like riding a rocket, leaving the geniuses of the same age in Canaan Academy far behind. Under such circumstances, Xiao Yixian was still able to leave Xiao Yan behind. What's more, she also had multiple feedbacks from the system. Perhaps she could eliminate those drawbacks in the feedback rewards. Xiao Ze looked at the unconscious Xiao Yixian in the valley. The evil poison body will not normally erupt unless Xiao Yixian takes poison, which will increase the toxicity of the evil poison body. but before experiencing the Izumo Empire incident, Xiao Yixian was extremely averse to taking poison. It may be because she caused a disaster after taking poison, Xiao Ze thought to himself, while looking forward to the next feedback. Generally, after the evil poison body erupts, the toxicity contained will increase, until the end. Even the evil poison body cannot suppress the toxicity in the body. The owner of the evil poison body will suffer from the pain of being devoured by all kinds of poisons. In the situation of being eroded by all kinds of poisons, being poisoned to death alive. Therefore, when this round of eruption is over, the evil poison body will increase. Xiao Ze waited patiently, and soon after, the system prompt finally appeared again. Xiao Yixian swallowed poison, the toxicity increased, and the evil poison body improved. Congratulations to the host for getting 100 times feedback. Perfect evil poison body. Hiss. Xiao Ze's eyes widened suddenly. Is this the first special benefit? It actually triggered 100-fold feedback directly. Xiao Ze glanced at Xiao Yixian, who showed no signs of waking up, and immediately chose to receive the reward. Since the system dared to mark the perfect evil poison body, it must have eliminated many disadvantages. In this way, Xiao Ze dared to receive it with confidence. Boom! In an instant, Xiao Ze seemed to feel the big bang of the universe. His body experienced thousands of destructions, and then revived in the destruction. Xiao Ze suddenly widened his eyes, and his whole body was instantly soaked in cold sweat, the pain of destruction and the joy of resurrection engraved in the soul. All these clearly told him, the experience just now was real. It's worthy of being an evil poison body. Receiving rewards is so exciting. Fortunately, all this was compressed into a moment, otherwise I'm not sure if I can survive, Xiao Ze said with some relief. When he came to his senses, Xiao Ze found that his fighting spirit cultivation had soared, 6 stars. That is the 8th star of the fighting master. The evil poison body is really so terrifying. Please read on, readers. Now I recommend you to read the whole book. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page of the book. Thank you so much. Chapter 27 Little Dr. Fairy, come with me. 3 more chapters to come, please read. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Ze obtained the perfect disaster poison body, which directly raised his cultivation level to 6 stars and became an 8-star fighting master. However, compared with the performance of the evil body in the original work, it is not an exaggeration. In the original work, the little medical fairy perfectly condensed the poisonous body of Ernan, directly raising her cultivation level to 3 stars and becoming a 7-star Dou Zun. In comparison, Xiao Ze's improvement seems a bit drizzle. Of course, it also has something to do with the fact that Xiao Ze doesn't have much poisonous gas in his body now. After all, he hasn't swallowed any poison yet, and his cultivation level can soar by 6 stars, thanks to the feedback of the little medical fairy. Speaking of poison, isn't there a master in front of us? Xiao Ze looked at the little medical fairy lying in the small valley, and his eyes lit up. I don't know what kind of sparks will happen when 2 owners of the evil poisonous body come together. Can the poison produced by devouring each other achieve a way of improving one's cultivation level by stepping on the left foot and stepping on the right foot, spiraling up to the sky? But even if it could be achieved, the owners of the poisonous body would not dare to do it, because the poisonous power of the disaster in the body has grown to the point that even the poison body cannot suppress it. The owner will suffer the pain of being devoured by thousands of poisons. Die slowly in excruciating pain. But Xiao Ze doesn't have to be afraid. He is the perfect poisonous body of disaster. No matter how much the poison in the body grows, the non-poison body can perfectly suppress it. Xiao Ze thought of this and immediately came to the little medical fairy. Looking closely, the little medical fairy passed out on the ground, with a soft face and a fresh and ethereal temperament. The white dress on the little medical fairy was now stained, but it still can't cover up the willow waist that is less than a full hand, full of slenderness and weakness. The 2 dark palms of the little medical fairy ruined the overall beauty, it should be the ashes left by her palms corroding the tree trunk as she held it along the way. Xiao Ze pursed his lips and slowly pressed his fingers on the little doctor's hand. A violent poison is transmitted from the fingers. The perfect disaster poison body immediately diffused the poison, transformed into fighting spirit in a strange way. The fighting spirit in the body has increased, but it has not yet reached the level of promotion. Xiao Ze glanced at the little medical fairy. Her gorgeous red lips were even more charming against the colorful cheeks. The colorful colors on the little medical fairy's face haven't faded yet. It's probably not time to wake up yet. Let's absorb more poison. Xiao Ze no longer carefully tested with his fingers, but directly covered the little medical fairy's palm with his palm. Xiao Ze felt the fierce poison trying to corrode his palm. However, they were all resolved by the perfect disaster poison body and turned into fighting energy flowing in the body. While the little medical fairy was still unconscious, Xiao Ze absorbed all the poison from the two palms of the little medical fairy. Comfortable. It's just one step away from becoming a 9-star fighting master. Xiao Ze murmured in his heart. He noticed that the colorful colors on the little medical fairy's cheeks faded. Xiao Ze quickly took his palm back. The little doctor's fairy hand moved slightly, and he slowly opened his eyes, and unexpectedly saw a strange man standing next to him. She immediately took out the homemade poison from her backpack, a powder that could instantly subdue a fighter. At the same time, he exerted force with both feet, trying to distance himself from Xiao Ze. Xiao Ze just watched the series of actions of the little medical fairy quietly. His eyes were staring at the powder on the little medical fairy's hand, and he was thinking in his heart, this poison can instantly subdue a fighter. I wonder if you can let me take the final step and become a 9-star fighting master. The little medical fairy came back to her senses and recalled that her poisonous body had exploded. There was a hint of worry in the eyes that were originally full of vigilance. Are you okay? Xiao Ze couldn't help but smile when he heard the little medical fairy's words. He is still the kind-hearted little medical fairy in the original work. For strangers who appear next to them, they do not immediately question them, but worry about whether the strangers have been harmed by their poisonous body. Of course it's okay. I also have the poison body of disaster, so how can I be afraid of poison? Xiao Ze said casually and took 2 steps back. The tense nerves of the little medical fairy relaxed a little, and the vigilance in his eyes dissipated a little. But when the little medical fairy heard about the poisonous body of disaster, he was stunned. At this time, she had not experienced any adventures, had not obtained the 7-color poison sutra, and did not know that what she possessed was the poison body of misfortune. You said my physique is called an poison body. Do you have it too? That the little medical fairy no longer cares about being reserved. Her poisonous body is her biggest secret. Now this biggest secret has been revealed by others, and the stranger across from her actually had the same physique as hers. Xiao Ze thought for a while, recalling the memories carried by the perfect evil poison body. Her non-poison body is a unique physique that can swallow poison and quickly increase its strength. The way to identify it is that there is a colorful hidden line in the lower abdomen. The little medical fairy's eyes flashed. As a doctor, of course she knew her body well. There is indeed a colorful hidden line on her lower abdomen. The little medical fairy already believed in Xiao Ze in her heart. The most firm support was that Xiao Ze could be safe and sound by her side. She knows how terrifying her poisonous body is when it breaks out. Xiao Ze noticed the change in the little medical fairy's eyes and continued. As the poison in the body gradually becomes stronger, the colorful lines will gradually grow, all the way to the heart. And this is also a symbol of the poisonous body of disaster reaching its strongest point. At the same time, the owner will suffer the pain of being devoured by thousands of poisons. Hearing this, Xiao Yixian's body trembled slightly. Xiao Ze thought about it and added fuel to the fire. Once the evil poison body fully erupts, it can instantly turn an empire into 1,000 miles of poisonous soil, and hundreds of thousands of lives will die from the poison. Xiao Yixian bit her lips tightly, and tears could not stop flowing down. Is this my future? Becoming a great poison master stained with countless blood. If you hadn't met me, you might have become a great poison master. Xiao Ze smiled and stretched out his right hand to Xiao Yixian, saying, I can make you stronger and control the poison body at the same time. Xiao Yixian's eyes lit up, like a ray of light that suddenly appeared in the darkness, making her reach out to hold it. When she came to her senses, she had already held Xiao Ze's right hand. Xiao Yixian quickly looked up at Xiao Ze. Her poison body had erupted not long ago, and ordinary people would definitely die instantly if they touched it. This is two concepts from staying by her side. However, Xiao Ze had a calm face. Now Xiao Yixian was completely convinced that Xiao Ze, like herself, had a poisonous body. Why, do you want to help me? Although Xiao Yixian was eager to control the poisonous body, she still couldn't believe that there would be help for no reason. Of course I have my own purpose. Xiao Ze paused here deliberately. Xiao Yixian held her breath, curious about Xiao Ze's purpose. I want you to help me practice. Ah. I don't want to find poisons and mix poisons. As a poisonous body, absorbing the poison made by your poisonous body may be the best nutrition for my poisonous body. Xiao Ze pulled Xiao Yixian up, looked at Xiao Yixian, and said seriously. Are you willing to come with me? Please read the book. Now I recommend you to read the book. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page of the book. Thank you. Chapter 28 Poisoning in Jishitang. Help out. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The little medical fairy pursed her lips, and tears suddenly flowed down. What's wrong? Don't you want to? Xiao Ze couldn't help but be curious. He refused if he wanted to. Why did Hao Duanduan start crying? No, I do. The little medical fairy shook her head vigorously and said quickly. Growing up, anyone who discovered my poisonous body would be as afraid of me as a tiger and avoid me. Only you are willing to accept me. When Xiao Ze heard this, he suppressed his smile, stretched out his hand to touch the little medical fairy's head, looked directly at the little medical fairy, and said sincerely. Don't worry, your poisonous body will be completely controlled, and then everyone will no longer be afraid of you. Xiao Ze solemnly promised. The little medical fairy nodded with all her strength, her eyes filled with tears. The little medical fairy has a kind nature and dreams of becoming a pharmacist, but unfortunately his natural attributes are insufficient and he cannot do so, but she still firmly chose to become a doctor who saves lives and helps the wounded, and worked hard to fulfill her dream. It's a pity that fate seems to have played a big joke on her. A doctor who saves lives and heals the wounded has a poisonous body that will kill others if he touches it. Even if she doesn't want to, the poisonous body will unknowingly hurt many people close to her. In the original work, the little medical fairy went to the Izumo Empire and accidentally killed 2 old people who loved her. Those 2 old men still cared about her even before they died. Such a cruel experience made the little medical fairy completely close her heart. Think that you are a born disaster. This is also the reason why Xiao Ze wants to take the little medical fairy away. Not only because the little medical fairy can help him practice, it is also because his perfect disaster poison body can help the little medical fairy control the poison body so that he will not accidentally harm others. He wanted to prevent the little medical fairy from experiencing those pains again. Okay, since you want to follow me, let's get to know each other formally. Xiao Ze was sure that the little medical fairy was willing to follow him, so he no longer concealed his identity. I am Xiao Ze, the 4th young master of the Xiao family in Wutan City. Of course, the delicate dough is not easy to take off. We will wait until we return to Wutan City. After all, it will be damaged after taking it off. I am the pharmacist from Qingshan Town's Wanyas High, the little medical fairy. The little medical fairy looked at this young man with a somewhat weathered face and said curiously, then shall I call you Master Xiao Ze from now on? No, we are getting along with friends. I am not here to see the maids and men. Xiao Ze shook his head and looked at the little medical fairy seriously. I hope you can become my friend who talks about everything and my partner who fight side by side. The little medical fairy showed a warm smile when he heard this and nodded vigorously. Since meeting Xiao Ze, she nodded a lot more than before, and so did the smile on her face. The little medical fairy had actually noticed it a long time ago. Xiao Ze did not treat her as a subordinate or follower. After Xiao Ze gained his trust, he took the initiative to pull himself up from the ground. Stop. Looking down at yourself, this small gesture made the little medical fairy have a good impression of Xiao Ze. You can just call me by my name. I should be the same age as you. Now this face is made of facial skin. If you take it off, it will be damaged, so I can't take it off for the time being. Xiao Ze explained again, and the little medical fairy nodded obediently. At the same time, she looked at Xiao Ze's face carefully. If Xiao Ze hadn't told him, she wouldn't have been able to tell that it was a disguise. The little medical fairy was curious about what kind of face was underneath the skin, but as Xiao Ze said, it couldn't be taken off for the time being, so the little medical fairy suppressed her inner curiosity. After some communication, the relationship between the two became much more harmonious. Speaking of which, how did your disaster poisonous body explode? Did you take the initiative to swallow the poison? Xiao Ze was a little curious. In his impression, the little medical fairy should be more resistant to swallowing poison, otherwise, I wouldn't have hugged the quilt and cried bitterly after swallowing the poison. No, I have the impression that after eating a box of pastries, I felt something was wrong with my body and realized that the poison was about to attack. I quickly left Qingshan town alone and came to the Warcraft Mountains, and then I met you, Xiao Ze. Xiao Ze said with a thoughtful expression. You have been poisoned, and the other party wants to kill you. It can make you unconscious with the poisonous body of disaster. You can imagine how violent the poison is. That the little medical fairy nodded, with hatred in his eyes. Who is so vicious and wants to kill me? I think I have not offended anyone in Qingshan town. Sometimes if you don't look for trouble, trouble will come to you. Xiao Ze shook his head and said to the little medical fairy, this is why he stayed away from people all this time. Even doctors like the little medical fairy who saved lives and healed the wounded were poisoned in an attempt to kill them. Want to make the person who poisoned you pay? But when the little medical fairy heard this, his eyes lit up and he nodded repeatedly. Although she has a kind nature, she is not someone who can laugh off someone who wants to kill her. Then go back to Qingshan town and take a look. Maybe you will have the answer. Xiao Ze took out 2 cloaks, one for each of the little medical fairy. Your clothes are dirty, and I don't have women's clothes here. You should hold on for a while and put on your cloak to hide your identity. The little medical fairy obediently took the cloak and put it on her body, wrapping herself tightly. Also, don't call me by my real name from now on. When I go out, I can easily get into trouble and implicate my family, so it's best not to reveal my real name. The little medical fairy nodded, and then asked, then what should I call you? You can just find a code name. Master, is it okay? That's fine too. The two chatted all the way and rushed to Qingshan town. Under the little Dr. Fairy's narration, Xiao Ze quickly determined the target, Wan Yazhai's competitor, Jishitang. After Wan Yazhai hired the little medical fairy, the business boomed. Squeezing out Jishitang's business, destroying someone's wealth is like killing one's parents. It's not surprising that Jishitang wants to get rid of the little medical fairy. When he came to Qingshan town, Xiao Ze found that he didn't seem to need to verify. The boss of Wan Yaozhai led his people to block the door of Jishir Hall. A young man was kneeling next to him. The crowd around him was filled with indignation. Xiao Ze took the little medical fairy beside him and listened for a while, and finally figured it out. The little fairy doctor became poisonous and left the 10,000 medicine studio. Her leftover pastry was quickly discovered by the people from Wan Yaozhai, and the poisoner was immediately caught. After some interrogation, Jishitang was discovered. At this time, the boss of Wan Yazhai was furious and came to Jishitang to question. Other ordinary mercenaries who learned the news also gathered together and asked Jishitang to give an explanation, otherwise don't blame them for being rude. The little medical fairy saved many lives. However, the boss of Jishitang, a thin and capable old man, seemed confident. From Wan Yazhai. Just because of this little brat, you want to frame me, Jishitang. The boss of Wan Yaozhai snorted and angrily said, the witnesses and physical evidence are all here, it's useless no matter how much you quibble. If you don't give me an explanation today, I will tear down your Jishitang. That the surrounding onlookers responded one after another. That's right. You want to poison such a beautiful and kind person like the little medical fairy. You are so inhuman. The poor little medical fairy was killed by you ungrateful people. I just want to help out today. Suddenly a discordant sound sounded. If a doctor can be poisoned so easily, I don't think her medical skills are very good. She walked out slowly. I beg all readers to read it. Now I recommend you to read it all. I beg you to use your little hands and pull it to the last page of the book. Thank you. Thanks to Miss Life for the reward. Thanks to Wang Jingying, Left-Wing Queen Wei Yenshan and book friends 2023072876175 for their monthly support. Many thanks. Chapter 29 Two-Star Fighting Master. Kill with one finger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mu Shi. The leader of the Wolf-Head Mercenary Group. One of the three major mercenary groups in Qingshan town. His own strength is still that of a two-star dosher. Although he has stagnated for many years, he is still not someone that ordinary mercenaries dare to provoke. Mu Shi spoke, indicating that he wanted to stand up for Jishitang. He walked to the side of the boss of Jishitang and released the dosher's doqi pressure. The ordinary mercenaries around him were silent for a moment, and even silently stepped back several steps. Even the mercenaries who had previously clamored to help the scene did not dare to speak again, for fear of offending Mu Shi. They are just ordinary mercenaries. If you offend Mu Shi, your days in Qingshan town will be difficult in the future. The boss of Wanyazhai suddenly looked ugly. Previously, due to the employment of Xiao Yixian, Wanyazhai's strength expanded a little, so he dared to shout about demolishing Jishitang, but if the Wolf-Head mercenary group stood with Jishitang, Wanyazhai would be hard to resist. Like I said before, if she could be poisoned so easily, then the medical skills of this doctor are probably just as so. Mu Shi said with a sneer. His cold eyes swept the crowd around him. Seeing that the people who made eye contact with him lowered their heads, he snorted complacently. Being threatened by Mu Shi's eyes, the momentum of Wanyazhai was reduced a lot. Humph. Stop talking nonsense. How can anyone guard against thieves for 1,000 days? People will always be lax, the boss of Wanyazhai said with a sullen face. The poisoning of the little medical fairy does not prove how good her medical skills are. Besides, the witnesses and physical evidence are already here. Do you, Jishiti, want to confuse right and wrong? The boss of Wanyazhai seized on the witnesses and physical evidence, and at the same time strongly refuted Mu Shi's words. The boss of Jishiti sneered, put his hands behind his back, and walked down slowly. He came to the witness and looked carefully. Hey, Wanyazhai. I don't know this person at all. Who knows where you found this scapegoat, and you tortured him into confessing, and falsely accused him of being from Jishiti. That the old man stood up slowly and said calmly, the so-called witness is just your one-sided statement. Who knows if you have colluded with the witness? As for the so-called physical evidence, who can prove that the poison in this plate of cakes came from our Jishiti? Even if it is really the poison from our Jishiti, it is possible that there are other people with ulterior motives who want to frame Jishiti. That when the old man said people with ulterior motives, his eyes deliberately glanced at the owner of Wanyazhai. The owner of Wanyazhai was so angry that he blew his beard and glared. At the end, the old man pretended to be sentimental and said, poor little medical fairy, she was poisoned to death, and people still want to make a fuss about it. The old man's words immediately attracted a lot of discussion from the people around him. It seems to be true. The witnesses and evidence mentioned by Wanyazhai might really be directed and acted by the boss of Wanyazhai. You are talking nonsense. Why did the boss of Wanyazhai poison Xiao Yixian? Xiao Yixian brought a lot of business to Wanyazhai. Speaking of which, they have been saying that Xiao Yixian was poisoned. Why haven't we seen Xiao Yixian's body yet? That the crowd was talking about it. When Xiao Ze heard half of it, he had already pulled Xiao Yixian away from this place of right and wrong. Both sides insisted on their own opinions, so let's collect evidence on the spot. The production of fierce poison is not that simple, and it must leave some traces. While Jishitang's attention was attracted to the front, Xiao Ze took Xiao Yixian and sneaked into Jishitang and searched inside Jishitang. After a search, they really found a secret room. The remaining ingredients in the room were the fierce poison that caused Xiao Yixian to be poisoned. Okay, now the evidence is conclusive. Xiao Ze himself was more inclined to believe that Jishitang was behind it. Now that he has seen the evidence, he has no scruples about taking action. 2 years later, Xiao Yan came to Qingshan town, and only Wanyazhai dominated. It seems that according to the original development route, Xiao Yixian was not poisoned to death, and the two sides let it go. With the help of Xiao Yixian, Wanyazhai continued to develop and soon annexed or destroyed Jishitang. As for the wolf-head mercenary group, why did they stand up for Jishitang? Xiao Ze guessed that it was probably because Jishitang saw that its business situation was not good and took a risky move. Offer a lot of benefits to bribe the wolf-head mercenary group and let it deal with the trouble after poisoning Xiao Yixian. It may be some rare medicinal materials, or it may be the business share of the next 10 years. Faced with such huge benefits, the wolf-head mercenary group will definitely not be able to resist. After all, mercenaries are profit-seeking. Because the thriving Wanyazhai will not give the wolf-head mercenary group such huge benefits. Xiao Ze does not want to care about the activities behind this, he just wants to deal with the main culprit and accomplice who poisoned Xiao Yixian. I will take Xiao Yixian away from Qingshan town and have no contact with this place from now on. Xiao Ze came to the door of Jishitang, and the two sides were still arguing. He. No need to argue, I found the poison to kill Xiao Yixian in Jishitang. A hoarse and gloomy voice came out of Xiao Ze's mouth. He found that the laughter of the elder of the Soul Hall was really unique. Xiao Ze stunned both sides as soon as he opened his mouth. This unexpected third party attracted everyone's attention. Two figures wearing black cloaks walked in from outside the crowd. Xiao Ze threw the collected evidence on the ground. The boss of Jishitang flashed panic on his face, and the boss of Wanyazhai was a little happy. This mysterious man seemed to be on his side. The old man still wanted to make a fuss and make specious arguments. Xiao Ze spoke first. You don't need to quibble anymore. I was just treated by Xiao Yixian. Now she has been poisoned and died. I want to avenge her. As he spoke, Xiao Ze walked towards the old man. The old man retreated repeatedly when he saw the mysterious man approaching. He was a scholar meeting a soldier, and he had nothing to say. Humph, you want to use force when you can't argue, right? The old man said with all his strength, turning his head and shouting at Mu Shi who was standing there watching the show. Captain Mu Shi. You promised to take action. I know, how strong can this guy who hides his head and shows his tail be? Mu Shi said confidently, bursting with the breath of a fighting master, and rushed over with a grim smile. You are such a coward. If you want to avenge others in your next life, you'd better consider your own weight. The crowd around was forced to retreat again and again by the strong pressure of Dou Qi, looking at Mu Shi with horror. This is the power of a Dou Shi. I will return this sentence to you intact. Xiao Ze stopped and said with a smile. Arrogant. Mu Shi roared, rushed over, and reached out to Xiao Ze's cloak, wanting to see Xiao Ze's true face. The crowd around was heartbroken when they saw this scene, feeling sorry for Xiao Ze. Why not provoke a Dou Shi master? The water attribute Dou Qi in Xiao Ze's body was mobilized, mixed with some poison attribute Dou Qi, and the originally light blue Dou Qi instantly turned dark blue. Xiao Ze's finger was launched first. In the eyes of the crowd, it seemed slow but actually fell on Mu Shi's eyebrows. Puff! The picture seemed to be frozen at this moment. When Xiao Ze pulled his finger away, it was still clean as before. However, Mu Shi on the opposite side had a bloody hole between his eyebrows. The people around were all stunned. A 2-star Dou Shi was killed by one finger. Please read this book. I recommend you to read it in full. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page of the book. Thank you very much. Thank you for the monthly ticket support of Dumb True Story. Thank you very much. Chapter 30 Directed Opportunity. Intimate Hug. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone present was stunned. It wasn't until Moose Snake's body hit the ground that an alarm bell sounded, waking everyone up. The surrounding mercenaries all took a few steps back and stayed away from Xiao Ze. I'm afraid that this mysterious person will be unhappy and stab them to death with one finger. After all, even the leader of the wolf-head mercenary group, one of the three major mercenary groups, was stabbed to death with a finger. How can it be, that the old man screamed and subconsciously wanted to turn around and run away? Xiao Ze glanced at him and kicked the stone under his feet. The old man only felt the roar of the wind behind him, and then he felt a sharp pain in the back of his head, and his consciousness fell into darkness. Okay, I'm not someone who kills innocent people indiscriminately. I just want to avenge the little medical fairy. The mastermind and accomplices have been killed, and this matter is over. Of course, if you still want to avenge the two of them, you can bring it up now. Xiao Ze Jijia laughed, making people feel like a gloomy old monster. Many mercenaries present were silent. Who could avenge them if they were not relatives? The two of them also poisoned the little medical fairy, which was really what they deserved, damn it. Although what this mysterious man did was very satisfying, these mercenaries did not dare to make mistakes, just like they had cautiously backed away from the mysterious man before. Now they don't dare to speak randomly, otherwise a finger will be pressed on their forehead. In that case, I will leave first. Xiao Ze pulled the little medical fairy who was standing aside and slowly left Qingshan town under the watchful eyes of everyone. The little medical fairy didn't speak until she was far away from Qingshan town. Xiao Ze, you are really cautious. You wear a mask and a cloak, and you still pretend to be an old man. The little medical fairy chuckled. There is no other way. When you go out, being cautious is the best way to save your life. Xiao Ze shrugged and asked the little medical fairy. Is there anything else you need to bring? No need, I have nothing to worry about. I am temporarily employed by Wanyao Zhai. It is the mutual success of both of us. The little medical fairy took off her cloak and shook her head. Xiao Ze, are you going back to Wutan City now? I still have some free time, so I'm not in a hurry to go back. When Xiao Ze heard the little medical fairy's special question, he knew that the little medical fairy might have other ideas. How about we collect some medicinal materials in the Warcraft Mountains so that we can prepare the poison when the time comes? Can. Xiao Ze nodded and agreed to the little medical fairy's request. He roughly estimated that as of today, he has only been away from Wutan City for 5 days, and there are still more than 20 days left. I don't have any training techniques that are specifically suitable for you. When the time comes, you will join me to enroll in Canaan College. With your current strength, you should be able to pass the test easily. Xiao Ze took the little medical fairy to the Warcraft Mountains while introducing her to the future development. Even the Xiao family may not have poison-type fighting chi skills. Without troubling Xun'er, Canaan Academy should be the best choice. Seeing the little medical fairy happily picking herbs, Xiao Ze also had some ideas. In the original work, Xiao Yan and the little medical fairy had an adventure when they discovered an extremely secret cave on a cliff while they were out collecting medicine. Now the little medical fairy obviously hasn't discovered the cave yet. Going out to collect herbs means that you are not too far from Qingshan town, places rich in medicinal materials, cliffs and caves. These three elements don't have much in common outside the Warcraft Mountains. Isn't this a directional adventure? There is an adventure that determines the direction. It happened that the little medical fairy was also looking for suitable medicinal materials, so he took Xiao Ze to collect medicines outside the Warcraft Mountains. Little medical fairy, try to go to a place with rich medicinal materials, preferably a cliff. Upon hearing Xiao Ze's request, the little medical fairy tilted her head. Xiao Ze, do you want to seek opportunities in the Warcraft Mountains? We're going to stay outside the Warcraft Mountains for a few days anyway. Why not have some fun for ourselves? That the little medical fairy nodded and carefully recalled the surrounding situation. According to your requirements, there are 2 places near Qingshan town that meet your requirements. Then let's go. After half a day, they came to a cliff with rich medicinal materials. Unfortunately, Xiao Ze used his soul perception to check for a long time, but could not find the hidden cave. Xiao Ze, I think you'd better not have too much hope. The little medical fairy said to Xiao Ze while digging out medicinal materials for preservation. Although there are often rumors of people in Douchi continent getting lucky encounters and soaring into the sky, we can't just place our hopes on this. Don't worry. I still understand why I am so lucky. After the little medical fairy picked the medicinal materials needed here, they went to the second location. When he came near the cliff, Xiao Ze's eyes lit up. The advantages of foresight are clearly demonstrated at this moment. Even if he couldn't know the specific location, as long as there were enough features, he would be able to find an adventure. Little medical fairy. The little medical fairy who was digging for medicinal materials cast a doubtful look. Luck is here, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Hearing Xiao Ze's words, the little medical fairy was slightly startled. When she came to her senses, she stood up suddenly. Have you discovered the adventure? Under Xiao Ze's guidance, the little medical fairy also saw the extremely secret cave. This is so lucky, I really have an adventure. Xiao Yixian jumped up happily, holding Xiao Ze's hand and shaking it repeatedly, pointing at the cave excitedly. This was the adventure she and Xiao Ze discovered together. Xiao Ze, I found that since I followed you, my life seems to have become more interesting, Xiao Yixian said meaningfully. That's great, but it should not only be interesting, but also strive to make your life better. Xiao Ze laughed and rubbed Xiao Yixian's head to calm her down. Next, the two of them tried to get to the cave below the cliff. A strong vine was found to tie the two tightly together. Xiao Ze put his arms around Xiao Yixian's willow waist, which was not even as thin as a hand, and hugged Xiao Yixian tightly. I'm going to jump down, hold me tight. Xiao Yixian lowered her head and let out a muffled sound full of shame. This time they did not encounter any monster attacks, and arrived at the entrance of the cave safely. After getting on the ground, Xiao Yixian's pretty face flushed, and she quickly left Xiao Ze's arms. She felt her cheeks were burning, so hot. Although she had a good impression of Xiao Ze, such close contact still made her feel shy, but to her surprise, she didn't have any dislike in her heart. Xiao Ze was calm on the surface, but he was still a little agitated inside. After calming down a little, Xiao Ze came to the entrance of the cave. There was a faint mist on the cliff here, and the sunlight was not sufficient, therefore, only the vicinity of the cave entrance was clearly visible, and it was pitch black further in. Xiao Ze made a simple torch and said to Xiao Yixian, Come on, come in with me. I'll leave you outside, for fear that you will be taken away by an unknown monster. How can I be so weak? I have poison powder on me for self-defense. Xiao Yixian showed her poison bag, but still walked over obediently. Approaching Xiao Ze, Xiao Yixian recalled the previous intimate behavior and her cheeks flushed slightly. Seeing that Xiao Yixian was strong-willed but honest, Xiao Ze couldn't help but smile and said, Don't be afraid of 10,000, just be afraid of one. The two of them moved closer and entered the cave one after the other. I ask all readers to click and read. Now I recommend you to read the whole book. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page of the book. Thank you. Thank you for the monthly ticket support of Super Invincible Shuibi and One Punch One Dr. Chen. Thank you very much.